gonna do this. But I feel so alone right now. My God, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah, Lord, have you forsaken me? Or maybe I ain't ready for who you making me. Every day I'm faced with another choice. I pray when I hear your voice, respond faithfully. Patiently you wait for me, but I can't feel that vacancy that lately I've been feeling on my heart heavy. Carry my cross over like I'm Stephon Marbury. I try to bury all the thoughts that keep me from hearing you clearly and doing.
Not having everything was the only thing I had to pay for back in the day was like the books that I would get. I didn't have to pay for any lessons. They had stuff on their YouTube. I mean, they still do stuff on their YouTube too, but like everything is like, oh, this is, oh, they've restructured their business model, which is probably good for them because they were expanding, and you know they have to pay people, and people have families to feed and all that jazz. I'm not hating on them for it at all. Like, I completely understand. I completely understand, but at the same time, I'm just like, dang, I don't have that simple access anymore. And so just getting back into studying is just gonna feel very different, because before I could just like passively listen to the podcast and go about my day clean, and I'd still be learning, I'd still be studying, and there'd be vocab and like all the stuff that I was just passively absorbing, and now I'd have to be a bit more proactive about it. Again, just want to reiterate, not hating on them at all. They want to get the bag, they need to get the bag, get that bag. It would just be a different user experience for me. And I feel bad because sometimes like my old TikToks of like when I was using them will like start getting traction again. And I was like, oh yeah, they have all this stuff for free, yada 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 yada. And then people will comment, and it's like, it's not free anymore. And like they only have like snippets on like the podcast apps now. I'm just like, Like they'll have like one or two lessons of like each level, so you can see what it's like. But it's just not the same. It's not the same as it was. That's a nice, simple little horse. I think I'll leave it like this, kind of, so you can see like some of like the background colors and whatnot, like coming through and like helping with the overall shading of it. I kind of like that look, especially for animals. I don't know. I think it's a nice little horsey. Let's see what's next. I said I was gonna paint a dog. I have no idea what type of dog it is. It's one of those really tiny dogs. But its fur it spoke to me, you know? It's one of those things. I might have to use a different brown. I think this doggo is less of a burnt sienna and more of a raw. One of my sisters asked me if I was gonna do more anime portraits for Comic-Con coming up, and I definitely want to. I want to do like a bunch of like characters from like Solo Leveling and My Hero, and I want to do more Attack on Titan stuff too, because I keep getting like Attack on Titan edits on my For You page on TikTok, and then even like I think I'm getting like some YouTube shorts too, where it's heavy on the AOT, and I'm just like, I don't have time to rewatch this series, please stop. But the edits are so good. They're so good. And just generally speaking, that show is just, I don't know if I'll ever watch something that good ever again, and it makes me sad, but at the same time, I don't know if I want something to destroy me emotionally as much as Attack on Titan destroyed me. Like, my mom, she watched it first, and at first I was like, Mom, what are you watching with, like, these giant cannibals? And she's like, I don't know, they eating people. They eating people, and they killing the Titans. And then she watched the whole first season first, and then I ended up watching it on my own. I watched the entire first season in one night. And, like, I started pretty late. And so I'd watched it into the wee hours of the morning, and it was such an emotional roller coaster. It was really good. I cried when, I don't want to say too much, but I cried when Eren was in the Titan's mouth. I cried at the show. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It makes you really love these characters and get so wrapped up in the world, and there are people that are still debating on how the show ended and if the characters' actions were justified or not, and it sparks deep philosophical debates. And even the mangaka that wrote it, he was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to write something like Attack on Titan again, because I put my heart and soul into it, and everything that I wanted to say about people and life and humanity, it's in there. And so he's just like, I don't know if I'll be able to make anything like that ever again. And so it's just like, he put everything into it, and it's the show. It's so good. It's so good. It is absolutely. I don't know if I'll ever watch anything like that. Like Full Metal Alchemist, when I watched that as a kid, like that messed me up. When I watched Code Geass as a young adult, that messed me up. Watching Attack on Titan it's spanning from me being 18 and then the series ending 3 years ago, so it ended when I was 27. I didn't watch the ending of it until I was 29 because I was waiting for my mom to catch up, and you guys know that she passed away, and then I couldn't watch the show without her, and then my sisters ended up watching it like secretly, and on Christmas we all watched the ending together. Oh gosh. So yeah, there's a lot of emotions are tied to Attack on Titan, and I don't think I'll ever have that experience again with a TV show. Or maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. There haven't been a lot of shows that I have deeply emotionally connected with characters on. Like, I was really into the Vampire Diaries as a teen. I was like 15, 16. I was really into, the Vampire Diaries. I was into Twilight too. But I don't think a character's life and death and purpose. I don't think outside of Attack on Titan, I can't think of anything that. I mean, I did like freak out the first time I thought Glenn died on The Walking Dead, and then when he actually died, I didn't even watch the episode. And I haven't watched a full episode of The Walking Dead since. I've seen bits and pieces of the Daryl show. I've seen bits and pieces of the Rick and Michonne show. I've seen bits and pieces of, because my mom watched everything related with The Walking Dead. She watched Fear the Walking Dead. I think she would watch The Talking Dead sometimes, which is the talk show about the series. It would record afterwards, and she would watch it for like a little bit. She wouldn't like fully like sit down and watch full episodes of The Talking Dead, but she was a loyal fan. I don't know if the show has financially recovered from my mother's viewership not being there anymore, because I didn't know anyone else that was still watching all of The Walking Dead like that. But she was loyal to the end, man. Loyal to the end. The Walking Dead impacted me. At least Glenn from The Walking Dead, he impacted me a lot, but I don't think anyone has had quite the impact that Eren Yeager has had. Maybe, Nina, I think her name was, from from Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. What happened to her? Nina Tucker. That messed me up. But, yeah, nothing quite like Eren and Mikasa. Nothing quite like them. I mean, Code Geass was really messed up too. Code Geass was really messed up. Code Geass was another show that I watched like really quick and like I binge watched. And I wasn't like watching it streaming. We had like DVDs rented from the local library that we were watching. Yeah, so that was... I don't think there's any animes like Code Geass, like Full Metal, like Attack on Titan. For me, those are like the... just... I don't know, like Dragon Ball Z, it has some great writing, especially like Vegeta's whole character arc and stuff. He's excellent. He's a wonderfully complicated character. But there's a lot of things in the show that are just like, that's dumb. Akira Toriyama, why did you do that? Why is Trunks dating someone that was a villain when Goku was a child? Like, yeah, she got turned into a child, but why is she growing up again and dating Trunks? Why couldn't the Trunks just be with a new character? Like, why is he dating a woman that's old enough to be his mother, but physically is the same age as him? That's weird, Akira Toriyama. That's weird. Why did you write that? What's that about? I don't even think they're technically physically the same age. I think she's still older than him, but it's just like she fought in the Red Ribbon Army, man. Like that's uncomfortable. So there's things in all of these shows where it's just like, what the heck? What is going on? Like, that is so weird and dumb for no reason. And I feel like you can find that in a lot of popular animes. There's just something weird, like weirdly sexual undertones that just reminds you, like, hey, in some prefectures, the legal age of consent was 13 for a very long time. I think it was like one prefecture, but still there was 13. There's just a lot of shows where there's just something really weird in anime. There wasn't any of that in Attack on Titan. The main characters didn't even kiss until the final episode. Like, the main, like, romance love interest, they did not kiss until the final episode. There was a moment where the writer was supposed to have them kiss, but he felt too shy to draw them kissing, and so they didn't until the final episode. Not to say that there weren't other things, and I just, from my memory, there's nothing like weirdly inappropriate in Attack on Titan. I mean, there's lots of blood and violence and death, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't feel weird about showing my nephew, if in like 5 years, like showing him Attack on Titan, you know? Like other shows, there's like, why is that in there? Like in Dragon Ball, when Bulma flashed Master Roshi thinking that she was wearing underwear and she wasn't. Or when Yamcha stuck the dragon Bulma's chest as the Dragon Balls hidden under a blanket. You know, there's just certain things in like other shows that I grew up watching and enjoyed that it was just like, I would not show that to my nieces and nephews. You know? Like, I have to go back and watch, because my sister, she's very particular about the things that she lets her children watch, because our parents, if there was something inappropriate on TV, like if there was like a graphic sex scene or whatever, they'd just be like, close your eyes, and just like slap you in that face until the scene was over. And it was just like, Mom, you took me to a rated R movie and I'm 12. What did you expect to happen? But, you know, there wasn't, like, you couldn't just, like, Google, like, the ratings of things when I was a child. You just went to the movies and whatever happened, happened. Like, it might be, like, rated R, but it wasn't, like, you know, it's rated R for this reason, or this inappropriate things happen. And, you know, stuff like that wasn't... You had to, like, go searching for that kind of information. It wasn't just, like, oh, this is, you know, yada, yada, yada. But also our parents just kind of let us watch sort of whatever violent thing happened. It happened on the screen, you just saw it. But my sister, she's very particular about the things that her kids watch and see, and so if I want to show them something, I have to watch it and make sure there's not a lot of language. There, you know, it's not inappropriate in other ways. Like, the most inappropriate things that they have watched, like things with, like, the most language and stuff, is like Marvel movies or like the Pirates of the Caribbean. My sister's just very particular about the things that they watch, which is good. I'm glad that she monitors them, but sometimes it's like, okay, let me go back and watch this thing before I'm like, hey kids, let's sit down and watch this. Because there's been a lot of things where it's like, okay, like, it said this was a kid, like, I remember this being like a kid's movie, but that scene that just happened, that was highly inappropriate, so I'm not gonna have to have a long talk with my nieces and nephews about what we just saw, so we're not gonna watch this film. Never mind. I remember being very, very young when The Patriot came out and seeing a man's head get blown off by a cannon. That was like a core memory for me as a child. Very much a core memory for me. So we just want to be more careful about the things that we watch and put in front of the kids. But like 5 years from now, 5-6 years from now, I wouldn't have any qualms about my nephew, well, asking my sister if my nephew can watch Attack on Titan. I mean, it has been a while since I've seen, like, the earlier seasons, so maybe I need to go back and rewatch some things from, like, their scouting days. Maybe there might be something, but... from what I remember about the show, pretty solid. And there's like a lot of like the philosophy and the moral stuff about the show, and the it's just so good. It's really, really good. I think this dog has a lot of character. He looks so angry, and I didn't mean to make him look angry, but a lot of tiny dogs are pretty angry looking. That's the wrong. It's not like pure burnt sienna. It's definitely too red for the undertones. Me mixing black, burnt sienna, and raw sienna just to make regular brown. I have regular brown somewhere. This was faster. Okay, got an angry pup. Got a nice little horsey. What else? What else should I do? It's been a while since I painted a lion. I'm gonna scoot the pupper that way. I'm looking at a roaring lion, but I want to kind of make sure that the dimensions are square, and so I'm just like trying to I want to get the full like face in there. get some. Get a touch of magenta. Magenta, and let's get some. Oh, that's a lot of pink. I need the magenta for like his mouth, because it's not like straight magenta. There's like some purple undertones in like the, I guess skin? I guess you could say it's skin. I don't know. And some of like the neat flappy areas. I don't like the way I said that. His mouth and like parts of his nose. There's like an undertone. Let that sit for a minute. Gonna go back into some of the fur and like structural things about the lion. And just like growling, so there's like some skin folds and stuff. Actually, the eye should be further back now that I'm looking at it. Jesus is calling. Have you come to the end of yourself? You know, I did that thing that artists do sometimes when they're like zoomed in on an image or zoomed in on one part, and then they end up painting the face structure in the wrong spot. I saw someone do that of like a digital painting of Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil the other day, and like, cause they had like zoomed in to do his like nose and his lips. Like the nose was fine, but the lips were like super tiny compared to like the rest of the chin. And so it ended up just looking like really silly, and people were like begging the artist to like finish the painting like that, and so they did. They did. It's always important when you're working from a reference not to like zoom in if you need to see something, but zoom back out. Please zoom back out, because you're gonna mess everything up if you just stay zoomed in like that. Okay, let's retry the eye. It's not the right spot though. It looks funky. It looks funky, and I don't know why. think I made his pupil a little too small. Or the shine in his eye a little too big. Either way. I think this is a pretty good looking kitty cat. Alright, we have our horse, our doggo, and our kitty cat. I hope you guys had a good time. I know I kind of just like zoned in and just I locked in and said nothing, well, barely anything during the line, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. There's just like a couple little things I want to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make these. Listening to me ramble about Attack on Titan for like 20 minutes straight. Yeah, I hope you guys had a nice time watching these minis get made, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like I said earlier, you can get 20% off your total order using code SPRING at checkout. There is now a search bar, so you can search for things, and it's a little easier to navigate my website. Yeah, you can, there's a bunch of minis. I do have like the Black History icons. Those are there. Anime stuff. The Creation of Adam. It's still, that one's still crazy anyway. That's insane that I did that. Yeah, you guys can find a lot of stuff there. I realized after the last event, because I had some of my minis there and out, I realized like when I was going back and like taking photos of stuff, and I realized I didn't have a lot of things on the website, and so there are things that are there that were not there like a week or two ago, like this forest mini painting. There's 20 available. I think before there was maybe like, I don't know, like 10 or something like that. Like some of these, the amount of them have like doubled. And there were things that I realized that I had sold a while ago and like had to get, had to take off the site. But yeah, there's different things available. So I hope you guys, why does it say there's only 2 available? There's a lot of auroras that I have. Why does it say? Okay, I'm maybe have to like double check some of my stuff, because there's definitely more auroras than 2 of them, and there's definitely more than yeah. So some things I sold these so long ago, but I still like having them on my site because it's just like, yeah, I did that. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good time. And like I said, my stuff is available. You can still get a wall calendar, by the way. I still have the 2025 up just because, like, it's another thing. It's like, I did that. Like, clock it. I think the clock it thing is a little silly, but yeah, there's some things that are still on the site just because I like to see them. And so if you're like, what? That's sold out. Why is that still there? Because I just want people to see it and be proud of me. That's it. I just want people to see it and like it and buy it. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I am going to do other things, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, goodbye.